Pre-order XCOM 2 War of the Chosen, coming to consoles and PC August 29th, 2017. Affiliate link below. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater, and today I went and saw The Dark Tower. I know what you're thinking. Seriously? You went and paid for that movie? What the hell is wrong with you, Matt? What is wrong with you? Why would you give money to Sony? Well, for one, I love Idris Elba. I love Matthew McConaughey. I like Stephen King stories. Adaptations are always kind of hit or miss depending on what you're looking at. But no, I wanted to see it for a while, and I know it's Sony, and I waited till it was Tuesday, and it was $5.50 to see the movie in the nice reclining leather seats, and there were also only like 2 other people in the auditorium, so cool, right? I didn't really care. So basically, the storyline is, you have Jake Chambers, a young 13-year-old kid, maybe, living in New York City, having dreams of some mysterious man in black in what appears to be the Dark Tower. His parents, his mom, and his new stepdad, Lon, that was kind of a fun name, don't believe him. And they want to send him off to a psychiatric camp. And of course, the people who come to get him are the skin people who he sees in his dreams. So he runs off in search of the gunslinger, and he ends up finding himself through a portal out of Dutch Hill in Brooklyn into Midworld, where he meets Roland, the final last gunslinger, who's on a mission to go after the Man in Black, played by Matthew McConaughey. And they have to team up together in order to save the Dark Tower, therefore saving the multi-universes that the Dark Tower protects from the darkness that is coming in. And that's basically the story. That's the setup for the story. So basically, here's what we'll start off with this. Here's what I didn't like about it. How about that? We'll start off with what I didn't like about it. I didn't like that it was so short. It was 95 minutes long. That's a short amount of time for what essentially is an adaptation of, I think, 3 of the Dark Tower books and then part of like the 7th book or something. But then again, I've heard rumors that this movie technically was not an adaptation of the book, but a continuation of the series. I don't know. I've never read it. That's probably why I actually had fun with the movie today. What I didn't care for also was some of the acting. Like the first time you see Idris Elba and his father, you see it in the trailer, where they're all like, "Oh, we're gonna die." The first time we see Matthew McConaughey, it's very kind of ham-fisted, and you're unsure of what's going on. There's no real explanation of anything just yet, and it just kind of felt a little bit odd. And even Idris Elba's acting felt a little rushed, almost like he didn't really want to be there for those scenes. It might have been like the first couple days of shooting. I think it might have been because his hair was a little bit longer, not much longer, but enough to where like a quick clip would have taken it down for the next day and whatever. But that was a little bit about it. And then the story was really truncated, entertaining, but compressed. And there's so much there. They're talking about a new world, a new area, Midworld, and we don't get much of an idea of what it is, or the other multi-worlds that are there and how they tie into the greater Stephen King universe. I mean, there was a Pennywise reference that I really liked, and everything else. And so there was that. Oh, I should probably point out there are spoilers. I think that would have been apparent going into this right now, as by the title saying spoilers. And again, those are probably the 2 things I disliked the most. Was the length of the film, because I knew how short it was going into it, and everything else. And there was like 20 minutes of previews in front of a 95-minute movie. So literally 1/5 of the time I was there was watching previews, which I don't like that. But there was a 5-minute preview, extended preview for It, showing the entire opening scene with Georgie and Pennywise and their whole exchange, and that was fucking aces. So I really, really liked that. And I looked at that as more or less going like, yes, cool, I'm down for It in a couple weeks when it comes out. I can't wait to see it, and I'm glad they gave it to us. I'm glad we got to see that. So I got to see that. I'm happy with that. That was one of the things I really liked. Other things I liked. Well, I liked the kid who played Jake Chambers. I thought he was a good young actor. When I first saw the trailers for it, I wasn't entirely too certain what to think. I was like, I don't quite know. I don't really know what to expect from this kid. But I like it. I like what he did. I thought he had a good attitude about him. There was a scene where he's crying excessively because like his mom was burned alive, and it was emotional. I got a little bit like I got a little verklempt in that scene. You know, mostly because like I'm sitting there next to my girlfriend who's pregnant with our child, and you know, I'm just kind of like thinking and everything. The dad stuff's kicking in a little bit. You know, I'm all like, I would murder that motherfucker, and everything else. I loved Idris Elba. It was a little rough around the edges in the beginning, and that might have just been the character of Roland. But as the movie progressed, and I think he got more used to the role and used to the character, it started coming through a lot more, and then it felt more natural by the end. Like there's a great little bit where, you know, they come to Earth and like he's injured and they give him like antibiotics and painkillers, and then you know, Jake pulls out a Coca-Cola because it's Sony and Coca-Cola, you know, of course they're gonna go together, and you know, gives him a drink and he's like, oh, what's this? And he's like, oh, it's sugar, you know, and he's like, oh, I like it, it's pretty good. And then the next scene he's like, man, those pills kicked in pretty quick. I'm feeling top of the world, never felt better, let me get more of that sugar, you know. And it was a fun little back and forth moment that I enjoyed. I like the setup for Midworld. I like what we got to see of it. It wasn't much, it was brief, but I enjoyed it. I liked kind of what they were alluding at. It felt like a larger world was there, right on the edge of the horizon, right on the tip of our tongue, that we didn't get. And that kind of tied into the story too, being truncated back to what I didn't like. But I liked what they were kind of setting up. I want to know more about that, and maybe we'll get more if we get a sequel, which we probably won't, because the movie did well for number one opening weekend, which is really all Sony cares about. But then it dropped 68% down to like number 4. When I saw it today, there was like 4 people there. So, you know, myself, my girlfriend, and 2 other people. So not a lot of other people. I really like the soundtrack. I really like the score. I didn't see who did it, but I really liked it. Both my girlfriend and I really enjoyed that the entire soundtrack for what they played. The action scenes I thought were great. The scene in the one village when the bandits are coming in and everything, that was pretty cool. The action was good because Idris Elba played up this whole thing. He's poisoned, he's sick, he's not doing well, but man, he still kicked serious ass as a gunslinger, and it wasn't like an all-out thing. What I liked about that was he was injured. We get to see that, yes, he is dynamite at what he does. He is awesome with those guns that apparently have been crafted from the sword from Excalibur. Again, larger concept things that are very minimal lines of dialogue for explanation. Not a lot of exposition in terms of those little factoids, and I'm going like, I really need to read the books, which people have already told me I need to read the books. But the action scene at the end when he was, you know, trying to get to Jake and he goes through like, it felt like 50 fucking people. I mean, that was insane. He was just shooting everything. It felt like a Max Payne scene. You know, he's just got the dual guns, slow-mo, because he's just getting all the headshots, or well, getting the chest shots really, and just taking everybody out the whole time. And it was great. And he even ends it by grabbing a propane tank and hucking it at a bunch of dudes and then shooting it real quick and it blowing up. And like, that was pretty cool. The final fight scene between Matthew McConaughey and or the Man in Black and Roland, I thought was pretty cool too. Because Roland is getting injured, you know, and like, of course, there's that, you know, that back and forth between Jake and Roland, like, you know, no, the man who forgets the face of his father can't shoot and shit, and it, you know, kind of pumps him up and motivates him in order to defeat the Man in Black, and he does it in a cool way. And then, of course, they save the day and they blow up the bad guys, and then it's like, well, where do you go now? Where do you go now, kid? Your parents are dead. Your mom was burned alive. Your stepfather choked to death. Why don't you come back with me to Midworld? Because there's literally nothing for you here on this planet. And that's where the movie ends. Very simple, very straightforward. It felt like something you would find out of the 1980s. To me, it felt like Wolfgang Petersen's The Neverending Story, just like very brief story. It was a short movie, very brief telling of the film. But I mean, overall, I enjoyed my time with it. I said I've never read the book. I want to now, and I'm pretty sure once I read it and once I go through it, I'll be like, the movie totally sucked ass. But as its own thing, I enjoyed it for what it was. As its own thing, I felt that it was worth the price of admission at least once. And I would recommend that to you. If you're curious about it, give it a shot. It's not the best movie in the world. I think the director, I think he was working off of a bad script, and that was coming from Akiva Goldsman, who also wrote the last Transformers movie. So, I mean, Akiva Goldsman, please stop. Hollywood, stop hiring him. But there was potential there. And we might get that on like an extended cut DVD or something on home video. We might get that. I don't know. But in the meantime, I don't regret my time with the movie. I had fun with it. I will watch it again. I have no problem watching it again. To me, it just kind of felt like one of those like action adventure movies I would watch as a kid. Something I felt like it came out in the early to mid 90s, which might have a lot to do with just when it was written over the course of many decades and everything else. It just was written over time, and it kind of felt like that to me. I don't think that's intentional. Maybe that's just the way I took it, but I liked it. I liked it for what it was. Won't win any awards. It will be pretty much forgotten by this time next year. It'll just be another footnote in Sony's downfall. But at least for those 95 minutes, I was thoroughly entertained, and I'm totally okay with that. But what do you guys think? Have you seen the movie? What did you think? How does it compare to the books? I'm sure the comments will be quite interesting on this. Go ahead and let me know. My name, of course, is Matt Jarbo. This has been $3 Theater. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day. Peace out.